Hello and welcome to ProtoMet's First Impressions, where I give my thoughts on the first episode of any new tokusatsu show. And today, I'll be taking a look at The High School Heroes, a series produced by Toei that is apparently considered to be it's considered to be close enough to the Super Sentai series that the Power Rangers wiki, which also doubles as the Super Sentai wiki, lists it on their website. Like, it is listed with a page on that wiki. So, which makes sense because this show actually has a lot of imagery from, very specifically, Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger. But I'm not gonna lie, I kind of held off on even watching this show because it started like a week ago or so, and I kind of held off on even looking at it because I wasn't entirely sure if it would actually be a tokusatsu series or if it was just a high school drama that had tokusatsu elements in it. Turns out it is a high school drama with tokusatsu elements. It just has really strong tokusatsu elements. The general premise of the show is that there's this high school student, Taisei, who is the only member of apparently the school defense team, or a school defense club, which is basically really just him being a fanboy over Go Ranger, which makes him come across as kind of a weirdo with the other students in his school. But the reason he is so obsessed with Go Ranger is, firstly, because his father, who we learn was played by Tomokazu Seki, a prolific voice actor, who had himself actually appeared in a tokusatsu series, Voice Lugger, as Emerald, Voice Emerald, or something. I can't remember what, it was definitely the green Emerald themed character on that show. And that was also produced by Toei, that show was similar to the Super Sentai genre, subgenre, I guess. And his father, who we learn has passed away, loved Go Ranger. And so Taisei has actually watched the series like 100 times growing up. But secondly, he also actually had an experience in which he was attacked by a monster and saved by a hero. Though nobody really believes him, and to be quite honest, he isn't even entirely certain himself. And there's actually a good bit of mystery presented in the first episode as to whether or not the tokusatsu elements actually happen, or if they're just kind of more of a perceived thing. But long story short, he is the only member of the club, and is really only using the clubhouse as a storeroom for all his stuff. It's certainly not that popular a group. There is the news club that at least tries to interview him to try and learn what his whole deal is. And I can't remember the name of the girl, but she becomes a regular character throughout the episode, and she is apparently another character's sister. I don't know. It's a whole cast of characters get introduced in the first episode, and I could really only manage to remember Taisei and one other character. But, yeah. The episode itself starts off with a tokusatsu sequence, which ends up being revealed to just be a dream sequence that Taisei is having in the middle of taking a test. And we actually get a nice subtle moment where one of the students taking the test is clearly making signs to at least one other student to help them cheat or something. And that is very noticeable and becomes super relevant later on in the episode. But so Taisei, he believes in monsters and superheroes. Nobody else does. And there's actually one group that he does Taisei does try convincing other people to join the club on the grounds of joining him as a superhero, because he apparently has this app on his dad's phone, which apparently still works 10 years later, that he believes will turn him into a superhero, but it never works when he needs it, when he tries it. But he tries going around to other students to try and recruit them to join his superhero team, and they don't want anything to do with it. They are familiar with his reputation as a hero freak and don't want none of that. But during one moment, Taisei actually hears a student, a member of the baseball club, screaming for help, and goes to find him pretty badly injured. And we also encounter another member of the baseball club, Yusuke, who has some blood on his hands, so the other members of the team think that he's the one who attacked the first student. However, from our perspective, we see that it's somebody using a similar app to what Taisei has to transform into a monster to attack. And we get to see this thing slobbering, tooth-filled mouth. Very nicely done. It gets even better later on, but... So Taisei thinks that... tries to figure out what's going on. Some other stuff happens. Later on, Taisei hears another student, also a member of the baseball club, being attacked. And this time actually manages to arrive just in time to see the monster, which, surprise, has a baseball for a head. Which, cool! That is a very nice nod to probably the most famous of Go Rangers monsters of the week, Baseball Mask, to the point where that monster has actually shown up in later Super Sentai stuff. But this thing looks absolutely horrifying. Like, the mouth is basically part of the ball that's become unstitched and just like hanging down with teeth. And there's like another part like right here that's also has the stitching coming undone, and that's where the eye is. It looks horrifying. It's also got like a nail driven through its chest, which I assume is just kind of a general thing, since the monster that Taisei had apparently encountered 10 years earlier apparently also had that in there, if I remember that correctly. But it's a fantastic visual design and a great way to homage probably the most famous monster from the original Super Sentai show, and still make it pretty horrifying. And I'm not gonna lie, probably my favorite feature of the costume is that the special effects team actually made it so that the thing is constantly drooling. You can constantly see slobber coming off of its mouth, like all the time. And great work done that to give it the realism of actually being a mouth that's hanging open. Fantastic job, gotta give him credit. But it's at this moment that Taisei is actually able to use the app on his phone to transform, all of which is being witnessed by that one girl from the news club who had been interviewing him earlier. Also, I'm pretty sure another member of the news club is an actor from some other tokusatsu show, but I'm not entirely certain who. I think it might be the actor who played the Gold Ninja? The cowboy, the gold cowboy ninja character from Ninja. I might be wrong, and I might be completely wrong. It might be somebody completely else. I couldn't quite remember who it was exactly, but I think that's who it was. I might be wrong. I couldn't even confirm who it was, because the aforementioned wiki page just has a bunch of red links. So, yay. It is a brand new show though, so I'll give it that. But, yeah. So, then Taisei transforms into Akahiro and battles baseball Majin, according to the aforementioned wiki page. Apparently that's the name of the monster. I'm taking this hat off because it is hot up here. I am filming this in a non-air conditioned room. I got a fan on the ceiling. I've still got quite a bit to talk about. Because, as it turns out, baseball Majin is attacking these members of the baseball team while claiming them to be cheaters. And Taisei and the news girl are able to make a connection that the two members of the baseball club that were attacked got the exact same score on their tests, which immediately raises alarms for both of them, and they go to investigate it, and don't really find any leads. They try questioning Yusuke, and that doesn't go anywhere. We also get introduced to some other characters who will definitely become more important characters later on in the episode. I'll definitely become more familiar with them and their names as the series goes on. But for now, these are the only two whose names I actually could remember. Sorry. Also, it should be mentioned that at various times throughout the episode, Taisei just kind of has these kind of mini delusions in which he's conversing with Aka Ranger from Go Ranger. But even in those sequences, it's acknowledged as being nothing more than a delusion. Which is, okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's telling the audience that these are really just imagined parts. They're not really happening. But they are kind of helping Taisei to come to terms with stuff. They're kind of like an inner mentor, as it were. An imagined mentor. And that's a nice touch. But so Taisei transforms into Akihiro, and he and Baseball Majin fight. Baseball Majin runs off, is able to escape though, while Taisei is distracted. And, yeah. And it's then that they're going to investigate the cheating angle. But then, later on, some stuff gets said that suddenly triggers Taisei into realizing that they've been investigating the cheating angle under the wrong pretenses. Instead of looking to people that the two cheaters would have been cheating off of, he should have been looking to who would have felt slighted by the fact that they were cheating. And as it turns out, it's actually another member of the baseball club who not only attacked both of the previous two members, but also goes to attack Yusuke because he was helping those two to cheat. Because as it turns out, because he and the other two students were in their third year, this was their last chance to play baseball together as a team. And earlier in the episode, it was revealed that the whole starting lineup for the team was all third years, and this younger student felt slighted that they had to cheat to be able to get into to be starters on the team, despite the younger students having more abilities in baseball. That was fantastically done, and felt incredibly realistic as a motive for why this kid would become a monster. I loved it. Fantastically done. And it also presents Yusuke with the moral dilemma of having cheated and slighted a person, and therefore giving him a shred of guilt over basically causing this kid to become a monster. This ends up triggering his ability to transform into Owl Hero, which certainly surprised him, and he and Akihiro end up briefly battling Baseball Majin, but Baseball Majin brings up the fact that 2-on-1 is cheating, so they basically have a short baseball game with Yusuke pitching and Baseball Majin batting with his barbed wire baseball bat. Again, Baseball Majin is an awesome design. I love how they went with the baseball mask turned into a legit monster. Like, you would not want to encounter this thing. This thing would tear you to pieces. But Yusuke does manage to destroy Baseball Majin's mask and ultimately defeat the monster and save the student who had been slighted. So yeah, cool. But we also learn that the person who basically put the app on the kid's phone was a member of this the student council or whatever, who had earlier tried to ask the headmaster, the principal of the school, and his assistant in helping him to get Taisei kicked out of the club room so that they could actually use it, which didn't go very well, with the headmaster basically saying that they didn't want to cause a stink because that would that might potentially damage the school's reputation, because they follow the motto of pure, right, and beautiful. So pureness, righteousness, and beauty. Purity, righteousness, and beauty in all things as a student body, as a school body. But it's fairly clear that they might actually be the main villains of this series. And it's possible they may be distributing the app to students who might feel slighted to try and get their revenge and turn them into monsters for some reason. At the end of the episode, Taisei is having all the stuff in the club out in the club room moved out, because since he's the only member and there's really only one of the teachers who has a bit of a good moment with Taisei about why he's supporting the club even though it's on the verge of collapse. When Yusuke, who has quit the baseball club, shows up to join the school defense club. And then the news girl also decides to join the club. So now that they have 3 members, the club survives. And that's the end of the episode. I'm not gonna lie, I went into this kind of expecting this to be more of a high school drama than a tokusatsu series, but it managed to expertly integrate the tokusatsu elements into the show while still heavily being a high school drama. I loved it. I'm definitely going to be trying to watch more of these episodes, but given that they were, I think they're like around 45, 48 minutes long, so they definitely were made to stretch over an entire hour, similar to Tokusatsu Gagaga and Chosoku Parahero Gundin, which, another good one from this year. Bit of a hard bite to watch considering how lengthy they are, but I think I'll try to endeavor to at least watch that one. I did watch all the way through Gundin, and that one was good. So I would definitely recommend giving this a shot. It is a good tokusatsu premise, and it handles the high school drama well, while also at the same time managing to successfully integrate the tokusatsu elements in a way that doesn't feel jarring. It's definitely a high school drama, but with tokusatsu elements. I don't know how many times I will continue to say that in reference to this show. So I think at this point I'm just going to end the video. So until next time, this has been me, ProtoMet. See ya!